I was born in 1934 in New Rochelle, New York, into a Jewish family with German roots. And from the outside, my life looked perfectly normal. Inside, it never felt normal at all. Even as a girl, I carried a constant question that would not leave me. What is the point of being alive if the soul stays hungry? I tried to be the kind of daughter my family could understand. I tried to absorb what my community expected of me. Yet every time I entered religious spaces, I felt as if I was watching a ceremony from behind glass. People moving, repeating words, completing rituals, while my heart stayed untouched. I wasn't looking for a new identity. I was looking for a truth that could hold me steady when everything else shook. When I reached university age, I studied at New York University, hoping that learning would give me what tradition hadn't. I read, questioned, compared, and pushed my mind until it ached. I explored different religious ideas, even tried to convince myself that a modern, adjusted spirituality would be enough. But the deeper question only grew sharper. Where is the living connection to God? Around me, America was loud with confidence, proud of its progress, certain that comfort was the same as meaning. But I kept noticing something I couldn't unsee. A society can be rich and still spiritually empty. And when you feel that emptiness in your own chest, the glitter of everything else becomes unbearable. Then something happened that changed the direction of my searching. I began reading about Palestine and the Arab world, and what I found disturbed the simple stories I had grown up hearing. I realized I could not be honest with myself while ignoring other people's suffering, especially suffering connected to the politics surrounding Israel and Palestine. That moral discomfort pushed me into a wider world of reading: history, culture, and eventually, Islam. At first, Islam was not my religion. It was something distant, something I'd been taught to view with suspicion. But the more I read, the more I felt the ground shift under my assumptions. I discovered a faith that spoke with an unsettling clarity about God, about responsibility, about the human being's purpose, and it didn't apologize for itself. One book in particular struck me like a personal message delivered across continents: The Road to Mecca by Muhammad Asad. Here was a man who had also come from a Jewish background and had walked, step by step, into Islam, not by emotion alone, but by conviction. As I followed his journey through those pages, I felt a strange mixture of fear and relief. Fear that I might be changing, and relief that I wasn't crazy for wanting something deeper than slogans and inherited labels. Not long after, I began reading the Quran in English, including a translation associated with Marmaduke Pickthall. I expected poetry, or maybe rules, or maybe something that would feel foreign and ancient. Instead, I felt confronted, like someone was speaking directly to the part of me that I had kept hidden even from myself. I won't pretend it was instantly easy. Truth is heavy when you actually pick it up. With every chapter I read, I had to face a new question. If this is true, what will it cost me? Because the cost would not be paid in theory. It would be paid in relationships, in belonging, in the safe comfort of being understood. In that time of inner struggle, I began corresponding with Abul Ala Maududi, a prominent Muslim thinker in Pakistan, because I needed to test my thoughts against someone who could answer seriously. I wrote honestly, sometimes desperately, with the kind of candor you only use when you are cornered by your own conscience. Those exchanges mattered to me because they showed me that Islam wasn't a vague, spiritual mood. It was a complete worldview, demanding, consistent, and intellectually alive. Still, the final step terrified me. Not because I didn't believe, but because belief changes your life. I knew what it could mean to a Jewish family in New York if their daughter crossed that line. And yet, the more I delayed, the more I felt I was betraying the truth that had already entered my heart. On May 24, 1961, in New York, I declared the Shahada and became Muslim. I took the name Maryam Jameelah because I wanted my life to begin again with a name that reflected my new devotion. In that moment, I didn't feel like I had joined something. I felt like I had finally stopped running from God. But peace does not erase consequences. After I became Muslim, the world around me didn't magically soften. If anything, it became sharper. I faced distance, misunderstanding, and the ache of knowing that people I loved might never look at me the same way again. And there was another truth I couldn't ignore. I did not want Islam to be only something I practiced privately in a society that didn't understand it. I longed to live in a place where the call to prayer, the values, the moral language of life, where all of it matched what I now believed. So, in 1962, I left the United States and moved to Pakistan, where I would spend the rest of my life. People often imagine conversion as a romantic leap, but my story felt more like surrender. Slow, painful, and inevitable. I did not trade one culture for another as if buying a new outfit. I was pulled by something stronger than preference, the need to obey what I believed to be true. And once you taste that kind of certainty, you can't go back to living as if certainty doesn't matter. In Pakistan, my life continued. Marriage, family, writing, long days of learning how to be faithful not only in belief, but in character. I wrote and spoke about Islam and about the spiritual emptiness I had witnessed in modern Western life, not to attack people, but to name the illness I had felt in my own soul. Because my story, in the end, was never about leaving Judaism as much as it was about finding God, finally, completely, and without compromise. If there is one thing I learned, it is this. When the heart is starving for truth, it will not be silenced by comfort. And when guidance arrives, it does not always arrive gently. It arrives like dawn, unstoppable, exposing everything, demanding that you wake up and live.